And now, without any further delay, let's begin today's event. Once again, data, data, and more data, how to manage it all. I would like to introduce your moderator for today, and that is Dave Holmes. Dave, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Christina. Welcome, everybody, to today's webcast. We've got a great topic here, looking at geospatial content management distribution with our ERDAS APOLLO product. We are really excited to have one of our partners, eGIS, give the presentation today. They are located in Atlanta, Georgia area and provide GIS consulting. And in particular, they provide implementation and training services for the ERDAS APOLLO and the ERDAS Imagine products. We're excited to have them as a partner and have them speaking today. We have two speakers. Joshua Knight, who's a senior consultant, will give an introductory short presentation. And then we have Tim Gaunt, who's an enterprise GIS IT specialist, who will give a quite interesting demonstration on Apollo. So with that, I'm happy to turn it over to Joshua. Joshua.
Thank you, Dave, for that introduction. Again, my name is Joshua Knight with eGIS and Associates. Thank you all for joining us today and taking time out of your day to listen to what we have to say. So, of course, our topic of today is managing large amounts of data through different systems and how that can be accomplished. And what I'm going to talk briefly about are the different business objectives and goals that we believe that Apollo can help people manage and accomplish. So the first topic we're going to talk about is public records request and compliance. So this is an issue that faces a lot of state, federal, and local agencies. And the real question that you have to ask yourself if you're one of these organizations is, what is the cost and resources allocated to this effort? And then once you've completed the compliance request, can you prove it, in fact? And because of the nature of these requests, the fact that they cover spatial, non-spatial data, and can be very invasive, sometimes it's like finding a needle in a haystack. So Apollo can certainly help with this. The next is public utilities. So there are different systems that are in place for public utilities and private utilities. Items like capacity management, operation, and maintenance, CMOM. You need the ability to access large amounts of spatial and non-spatial data quickly, both internally and externally. The same goes for the MPDS, the stormwater system. These are large, intricate systems that have permitting requirements attached to it and are often run by local agencies who need access to this data both internally for any type of emergency requests, maintenance, and then also public requests. If someone's going to be working in a particular area, then they need to have access to this information quickly. It's the same with the Call Before You Dig program. Again, you have huge amounts of spatial and non-spatial data that come together with permits, with requests that are necessary in order to make this system work. And the ability to access those is absolutely critical for these utilities to function properly. Even businesses have run into this problem where as they grow and they acquire more data, they have past and previous projects they've worked on, but when they have new projects and proposals that come out, it's difficult to access that data because some of it's in document format, some of it's GIS or CAD data, and you have new projects and proposals, you have a wealth of information available to you. How do you pull all of that together and really put forth proposals and maximize all the work that you've done in the past? With data access, and I'm guilty of this as much as anyone. I've built enterprise geospatial solutions, but oftentimes beyond your relational database where you have a lot of GIS data stored, you have data stored everywhere besides that one container, and it's in multiple formats, and it's virtually impossible to locate just because each one of us have our own different filing systems or what we think is important. And again, you know, tabular data, non-spatial data is often overlooked within GIS systems unless they're linkable through a table format. So, but that doesn't mean that they're not critical. Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, access databases that aren't easily brought into an enterprise system, that data is still critical and still necessary, but oftentimes it's not easy to access. Now, document management systems access these non-spatial data great, and that's what most people use for their compliance requests. But where these systems are missing out is that they don't have access, or that most times they don't allow for geographic searches or accessing data from GIS or CAD systems. So when you're looking at a geospatial content management and distribution system, there are certain considerations that have to be taken into account. The first is data types to be managed. The second is metadata to be cataloged. The third is crawling for content. The fourth is portal access, both externally and internally for different clients. Then you have desktop access that's necessary for more of the advanced searches and reporting. And finally, reporting, both to external clients and internally for data management purposes. Next, we're going to have Timothy Gaunt give us an awesome demonstration on the Apollo software. He's going to be using an existing site that was developed by the New Mexico Resource Geographic Information System, RGIS. They're a geospatial data clearinghouse, and all of their data and their system is managed by the Earth Data Analysis Center at the University of New Mexico. They have an awesome system, which is why we're demonstrating it. It's really comprehensive. It has a lot of data from different sources, and it's used as a primary analytical tool for decision makers and researchers, and gives everyone sort of a one-stop shop to go to. And I urge everyone to look at this link here in the slide and visit this site if you want to see what's possible with the Apollo software. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Timothy for a demonstration. Tim, can you show us a little bit about the Apollo software?
Thank you for that introduction, Dave and Joshua. Today we're going to briefly review the ArcGIS data portal and look at some of the management tools and how they can benefit your organizations. Kind of the basics of the standard Apollo setup. You have your searchable catalog on the left-hand side that is going to display all of your data, a map viewer, and then a bottom pane that has the additional information available when you select or search for your data sets. One nice feature here is that these are all customizable and slidable to pretty much create the view that you want to see, utilize, and confirm. One of the other items that we have seen and Brent mentioned briefly earlier is authentication and being able to secure your data if you don't want to give full access to everyone else. The ArcGIS data portal is an open and publicly available data portal. This authentication is not required for us to view this data and take a look at the information. One thing to briefly keep in mind, though, we're covering data and how this is key and important to every organization. This also kind of goes back into the metadata, which we see is lacking in a lot of areas. These search tools and the catalog are only going to be as useful as the information that is put into the metadata, the keywords, all of that direct background information. Because if you don't have it populated, it can't find what you're looking for. So briefly today, we're just going to kind of run through searching for some basic data. Our search field here on the left-hand side, I'm going to look for some elevation data for New Mexico. And as you notice, it's going to run through the search and populate loading across the bottom. And your results are going to display in this bottom pane, which can be drug up and down to kind of review it. Like I said, when we were looking at the metadata, this component is very key. All of these descriptions and keywords need to be in place for this search field to work. I want to select this first Geroso Fire 2013. You'll see on the top right-hand side that you've got the service availabilities, what it's capable of. And if you click on WMS, you'll also see it has all the additional link information necessary for hosting it out to additional applications. So I'm going to add this map service to our area, and I'm going to zoom to it. And this is being all drawn directly on the fly, straight out of Apollo within the browser. Same capabilities will be in ArcMap, AutoCAD, Imagine. So for our particular data set here, we're going to demonstrate also briefly a clip, zip, and ship component If you add to the clip, zip, and ship, you'll see that now the name is there, the full description. One of our other key features that we really, really enjoy utilizing is being able to clip a small section of the image out by a polygon, by lines, drawn a box. You can zoom in on the map, and as you see, the performance is very, very good on this service. When it refreshes, we can draw our own polygon, complete it, enter in our email address, and then submit. And you'll see that request has been sent, and you'll receive an email on the email that you've put in. First email that you'll get basically says it started, and then it's complete, and you'll have a zip file that you can download and open up. And we've already got one of these up and running. For that image, this is just the full side of it, but the zip file you would be able to add directly. You also have the capability of utilizing the WMS feature that we pulled briefly earlier and adding it directly into ArcMap. You add just a WMS server, populate your shortcut, add your information, and now you'll have a service that you can drop directly into the map. Apollo also has an ECW search plugin for the data set that you can connect to. And today we're using the demo Hexagon Apollo for this main search. But these images are also available. You can add any of these directly into ArcMap and consume them as a web service. And the performance on these is extremely good. I know we've had issues in the past, as Joshua has mentioned, hosting out our data, getting it to the end user. And this definitely provides a very clean, fast delivery method. As you zoom in, you can pan and see that it's loading pretty well, doing everything. And this is all not stored on my local hard drive, 100% from the cloud. We can also open that information in Imagine. We have the web service directly added within Imagine, and you have pretty much the same performance. And your clip, zip, and ship, you would also be able to download the entire data set and just add it as the ECW image file. Now, some of the other components that Joshua had spoken to was the capability of being able to search within the Apollo data portal for information temporally as well as by keywords and information that you've already keyed in. I'm going to go to just a basic search again, and I'm going to look for all data that has been entered into our system within the last month. And you complete your dates here and hit search. And it's going to look through everything on this portal that it's configured and has access to that has been completed within the last month. And right now we are showing that we have 2 pages of information. Now we have, as you can see, some shape files. We have some imagery. And if you had documents in here with the spatial reference defined, you would also be able to search for them from that area as well. One of the other items that Joshua mentioned is the capability of applying a spatial filter in searching for data within a bounding box or a particular drawn area on the map. This would be very useful for an open records request if you had someone that was requesting all of your data within a particular section of the map. You'd be able to draw on the map the area that they would like to see, apply your extent, and see which data is available in that search. Now, the next question would become, how do I get it into my catalog? And Apollo offers a couple different options for being able to do that. The server side, as a data manager, and within the data manager, you have the catalog. This catalog is what is displayed directly within the Apollo configuration, and you can control your security through this data manager. And what we're going to do, a couple of the items that have capability, we crawl the file system. And just to take a minute and describe what crawling the file system means, this is the tool utilized to catalog all of your data, regardless of where it lives in your network environment. It can live in different server farms, it can live in a different folder, doesn't matter. One of the very unique pieces of Apollo that we see is a huge money-saving component and a benefit to all IT practices here is that we can crawl the files where they exist, and we do not have to make a copy for them to be available to the Apollo catalog. And that saves you on a lot of storage, saves performance. You're not having to go through and reorganize. Everything is available just as it sits. And we're going to go ahead and add a file system crawl right now. And as you can see, I've got my directory up within Network Explorer. I'm going to just copy that shortcut. And you have a couple different options as you run through and crawl the system. You can run this immediately and do it one time, or you can set up a recurring schedule where as you add new items, this is going to refresh on your defined schedule. You have weekly, daily, hourly, once, minutely. You can define all of these and get as complicated with that searching as you would like to. The next window is going to give you the options that are available and the services that can be enabled. And then your last piece here is the security settings. So if you have users or definitive areas that you need to define use, you can define them within this window and set their permission levels. You'll also be able to parse metadata if it's available. And if you know the metadata types, you can select them here or let it just run automatically. And when we finish this task is going to be off. And as you'll see, that new folder is not available yet. It is crawling it right now. But when I refresh my map, now I have the new backup folder with some sample information underneath it. And you also see that it did not just crawl geospatial data. It crawled document files, PDFs. It crawled everything that was in this setup. Anything that it could get access to, we now have in here and cataloged. Another question that has come up for us is how is this information populated and set up within the manager so that it can be accessible? You can briefly review the information that is here and see what is already populated on the right-hand side. There's no abstract for it. It's already got the document extension. It does not have a lot of the spatial extent information defined, but you can click on the spatial extent and draw a boundary for where you want this document to be displayed. And I'm going to draw down kind of the Atlanta area where we are located, and I'm going to draw our little boundary. So now it's defined the area on the map that this document is going to display, and it updates the spatial extent. We can also define the temporal extent so that we can do the search by the date range. And we'll save that. Another piece here on the documentation after the file system has been crawled is ensuring that the metadata is available so that these searches will work. Okay. Now the searches are going to have your keywords, and it's going to have the information that you need for searching all of the data for this set. There we go. Okay. And this one is not working today. We're going to move on to the next piece. But within there's going to be a bounding window that's going to have your information. And what you're going to have is a keyword search. And you're going to need to punch in the keywords and the correlating information that's going to provide the search tools. You'll also see if you add a new file into these folders, the capability, depending on what your schedule is, for it to refresh and have the new folder structure built. As well as being able to zoom in and define areas that you need. And when you have completed those searches, when you come back into the catalog will have that new folder structure here. And that's going to be about the time that we have left. Joshua, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. Thanks, Tim, for that very detailed demonstration. And so as you can see, the Apollo software is a very powerful tool. I'm going to take a quick moment here and ask a brief polling question to you, the audience. So what benefits have you seen during the demo that might be interesting? So your polling question is going to show up on the right-hand side of your screen in the right-hand pane. Please look through those as we read them off. And if you can't find one that meets what you saw during the demonstration, you can feel free to write it in. And afterwards, please click Submit. And this information helps us to better understand the market and the different uses for this software and to make these things customizable for you. So some of the benefits that we showed today were the ability to easily provide a portal for responding to open data requests, to also quickly search and find all relevant data based off keywords, map extent, or time frame, display imagery fast using compression technology and OGC data streaming, search and access geospatial content from web portals, desktop GIS software, and desktop remote sensing software, select multiple data sets, clip raster data with user-defined boundary, and download to client. Define file system crawling for auto-populating catalogs with geospatial content from original source location. And finally, provide comprehensive security authentication rules to control data access, both internally and externally. So please take a moment and tell us which of those benefits were the most interest to you, and that will help us in our efforts to best determine how to help you with these implementations. The Apollo software is a very powerful tool, as you've seen in the demonstration, as we talked about for different systems. If you'd like to learn more about Hexagon's Geospatial Content Management and Distribution solution, I urge you to go to this website. You can see the link here below and learn a little bit more about the ERDAS APOLLO software and how it might benefit your organization. A little bit more about our company. We're eGIS and Associates. We're a geospatial service provider. We do just almost anything that you could possibly think of, from application development. We help different organizations, both private and public, with GIS implementations. We help them with their enterprise GIS design. We help them with future planning for geospatial roadmaps. Also, if you have multiple applications that you'd like to link, we do business systems integration. For field data collection, we do field office automation to help people save time and effort. We do a lot of geospatial training and support. And we also provide a rent-a-tech service to any client that needs the additional help. So Dave, I'm going to turn this back over to you to talk a little bit about the different webcasts.
Great. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tim. Excellent demonstration. So if you've been watching our webcast, you know that we record all these webcasts, and we have all these available on our website under our support/webcast location. And we have 3 more webcasts planned for the rest of this year. The next one will be in 2 weeks on November 17th, called Earth, Water, and Customized Indices. This will be exploring how to use indices in our Imagine product to classify and extract water versus land features, fire features, and so forth. So a very interesting topic. We look forward to having you at that webcast. And we got one more polling question. If we could have that put up on the right-hand side. Look over on the right-hand side of your screen, please. We'll begin planning for our 2017 webcast series, and we always like to hear what you're interested in seeing, topics, products, solutions, challenges, whatever the case may be. We'd love to hear from you on that. You can type in your answer on that one. And then, of course, if you are interested in any pricing information on any of our products, please feel free to enter that over on the right-hand side, and be sure to hit the Submit button. So with that, we've got some questions that we can take a look at real quick in the last few remaining minutes of our webcast. We have a question, do I need a mature GIS to implement ERDAS APOLLO? Joshua, you want to take a crack at that, please?
Sure. So that's a good question, whether you need a mature geospatial system to implement APOLLO. We've seen this with the small to medium-sized local governments or other agencies trying to determine different content management systems that will work best for them. And so the answer is, as long as you're building a GIS system, implementing APOLLO is going to benefit you based off the amount of information you currently have. So you don't need a full-fledged massive system to implement this and reap the benefits from it, but you do have to have something, and you need to have, you know, an organized, non-spatial, and some spatial data in order to develop your extents for extracting this information and making it relevant. So the answer is no, you don't need a mature GIS. It works with small to medium systems just as well as very large systems like the New Mexico system that we just demonstrated. That's a very massive system, but it works across small to medium size just as well.
Okay. And time for one more question. How can I get services to get started with APOLLO?
Well, you are welcome to contact us here below, both Timothy and Jacob. You can contact Hexagon Geospatial. You can contact us. We would gladly talk to you about the different services that we provide for training and implementation, and work with Hexagon on any sales that you might have. And we would appreciate the opportunity to earn your business.
Okay, thank you very much. We've got two reference names, points of contacts on the screen. Jacob Hutt is with us at Hexagon Geospatial, and he'd be glad to talk to you about APOLLO. And then Tim Gaunt, who gave the demonstration today with eGIS, he would also be glad to talk to you about what you saw today and how you would go about getting an APOLLO system implemented. So on behalf of Hexagon Geospatial, again, thank you eGIS, thank you Joshua and Timothy for giving our presentation today. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on future webcasts. Have a great day.
Thank you. And once again, this does conclude our webinar, and at this time, you may now disconnect.